Hi crafters, this is Paulette. I promised a quick little coloring tutorial on this stamp. This is a house mouse stamp by Stampendous, and it is called Candygram, and I just think it's precious. I have colored it a few times, and here was my first attempt, which I don't like at all because the marker I used for the faces is way too dark, and so I have done some other ones where I have scribbled the marker onto a clear surface and picked it up with the water and then applied it, and I like that much better. Now, I did the candy canes in pink on this one and they were way too diluted, so here is a much better version. We're going to use this version right here. When I get a sample that I really like, then I put it right next to my work while I'm working. I can refer to it, and so I'm going to try to keep it, maybe not. I may have to lay it over to the side. I'm going to put it where I can see it, and then get this where you guys can see it. So we are going to use washable markers. These are Crayola and Cra-z-art markers. And that's what we're going to use. These markers don't have names, so there's no good way for me to tell you what colors they are, other than just going by the lid color. So let's start with our yellow. I have discovered that if I just come in and do some dotting with yellow everywhere that I want highlights, then when we're done with our project, our highlights are already on here for us. So I'm going to do a little bit on the arms, right there in the center where the highlights naturally would be. And I'm going to do the tummies, just a little kind of circular area here on the tummies. And I'm just dotting. That's all I'm doing. Dotting across the fur area here. And you can always come back and add more if you're not sure. So we're done with that color. I'm going to use this dark brown to outline certain areas. I'm going to outline the faces and the body. Arms, all the outer edges of the body. Okay. I'm going to take this lighter brown, it's kind of a golden color, and I'm just going to brush along the fur. Just making short strokes, that's all I'm doing. In the direction that the fur is already going by the artist. So very simple. Just kind of filling in color, and here is one little place on this mouse's face over here that I didn't finish outlining. Okay, back in here with this. Little short strokes. And you can always add more. Even when we're done with the water, if you want to add more, you can add more. Now I'm going to do this little shadow here by the candy cane, just a straight line. Because I think a shadow will be there. Oh, my baby's coming to help me. We'll see how we do. I may have to pick her up. Oh, she's got a tag from my drawers over here. You can't have that. Let Grandma have it. Thank you. She loves to eat my tags. Tape and all. Which isn't good. Okay, so now we're done with that little bit of brown. And you can even come in here where this fur is sticking up and do a couple. Do just a few. You don't have to do every one. Because when we dilute this with water, that's all going to kind of bleed and wash out anyway. Okay. Now let's go ahead and do the faces before we get too carried away so they can dry. I'm just going to put an acrylic block up here, and when I do this, I like to put some white underneath it so I can see the color, see where the color is. And I'm just going to scribble the skin color on here. It's kind of a skin tone. And then I'm going to take my aqua painter, and I just got it wet, and I'm going to pick up some of this color, and I need just a little bit more water. There we go. And just swoosh it on. I'm going to do the ears. And the hands. Feet. Let's see if I got enough for the tails. Just barely. Okay, now I'm going to rinse out my brush. What's the matter? Come here and help Grandma for a minute. Okay. Now, the faces, we're going to have to let the faces dry before we do our pinky business. So, let's go ahead and I really need to do the candy canes, but I don't know if I can do that while I'm holding her. We'll just see. We'll try. There's just a whisper of where the stripes go on this stamp, so just very lightly. These are kind of a thick-tipped marker, but if you just be gentle, don't press too hard, hold it upright, you can kind of get it in there nicely. Somebody's sleepy. Oh, there went the binky. There went the binker. Where is it? I don't even see it. It's gone. They seem to evaporate, don't they? Oh, that one was kind of squiggly. I have filmed this video a gazillion times. Okay, so now we're done with the red. And we need to do our cheeks. And we're going to do the same thing with this pink. We're going to scribble it on. So I'm going to turn the block around and get a clean space. Scribble that pink on here. And I'm going to wet my brush and dilute that a little bit. And we're going to put some cheeks on. Is that funny? And we're going to put a little bit on the eyes. And just a smidgeola on the ears here. And then a little bit on the fingers, like where the knuckles are. Just to give the hands and the feet a little bit of depth. And then a swoosh on the tails up here, closer to the body. Okay, now we are ready for the magic. So let's get some of this other stuff out of here. And I'm just going to put that here so it will hold that down for me since I'm one-handed here. Alright, I am just going to wet my brush and I'm just going to start swirling. And because these are washable markers, now you have to be a little careful here around the face, but because these are washable, it's just going to blend all of those little dots and little swoosh marks together. And it gives it kind of a watercolored look without having to have really thought too much about it or put too much into it. It's a fairly quick thing, and I like that. We're only at 12 minutes, so we're doing really good. Swirling, and you can just push, up and down if you want it to bleed up just a little bit. Give it a little bit more fur-like appearance here on the edges. I don't like to go too far outside that, but you can go outside it a little bit. After you do a few, you'll decide what you like. You know, everybody has their preferences and their likes. Okay, and now we're going to do the candy canes. Okay, and then we're going to do the other one. And there it is. Let's dry this a little bit. I always dry from the front and the back. You can really tell how much water gets on there if you look at the back. And this is just regular cardstock. This is not watercolor paper. But I find it does pretty good. It gets a little warpy, but not too bad. And then if you just flatten it out, this is a glass cutting mat. Just let it cool off here. As long as your mat's clean. I seem to get a lot of extra stuff on the front of my cards sometimes. So there they are. I just think they're so cute. Don't forget to sign your work. I have a special stamp that my daughter had made for me, and I stamp the back of all my work. And I really like this. It's one of those, you know, it inks itself. So as usual, if you have any questions, let me know.